If I was to ask you the question, would you rather spend the next 3 hours worrying or go about your day with peace of mind, what would you say? Well, I think like most people, you would choose the second one. I certainly would, because worrying doesn't feel good, does it? You know, even an hour's worrying is discombobulating, and it can get worse. You know, if we worry in the middle of the night, lying awake in bed, it doesn't feel great, does it? And of course, if we become obsessed with worrying about a particular issue, it can become quite damaging in a way. It can actually affect our health. It can affect the way we are able to function properly. So it's not something we would voluntarily choose to do, but we do it. So the question is, why? Well, one answer is we get the habit. Perhaps from childhood, we copy adults around us. I've heard people say to me, oh, I worry because my mother was a great worrier, or, you know, my dad worried a lot. And we just imitate that, thinking that, well, if adults do it, perhaps we should learn to do that, like we learn many other things as children. But I think also there are other reasons that perhaps we buy into later in life, one of which is that we think if we worry about something, we're better prepared for when that actual event happens. So, for example, we might worry about a job interview that's in a couple of days' time because we think it keeps us alert or keeps us ready and undistracted so that we make a good job of the interview. We could question whether that actually happens, but that's perhaps what we think. We also perhaps think that worrying about somebody else is a way of caring for them. So a parent might worry about a child. You know, is my child safe at school today? I hope this and that and the other doesn't happen. And we can think of cases where perhaps we worry about an elderly relative. You know, we think that's a way of caring for them if we keep them in mind in that sort of worrisome frame. And there's one other reason that comes to mind, and you may have other reasons you can think of for worrying. But so this is one I'm particularly prone to doing, is when we think worrying about something is somehow going to produce an answer, a solution, how to deal with it. So, you know, we can worry about perhaps, you know, something about our job. You know, if we worry about our career, then we're going to come up with an answer of how to perhaps navigate the situation better than if we don't worry. Well, I think you'll find all those are rather questionable, but we do it because we're rational beings in the sense that whenever we do something, even if later on we change our mind, at the time we're doing it, we think it makes sense. So if at the time it makes sense to us to worry about an upcoming event, because it prepares us, then we do it. Even if looking back later we realise, no, it didn't actually prepare us at all. In fact, it was detrimental. So this is a good point to sort of reflect for a minute on what worry actually is, what actually is going on. And we could say that worry is an experience that we have, which is indicated by the worrisome feelings we get. So we know we're worrying because we feel it. And when we're not worrying, we feel that too. And we can obviously discern the difference. So the question is, what causes that then? What really causes the feeling, the worrisome feelings? And we know that it's not simply thinking about the future, because we can think about the future in ways which excite us or energize us. It's not inevitable that thinking about the interview is going to create worry. It's not inevitable that thinking about another person is going to mean we've got to worry about them. It's a particular way we're thinking about those things that causes the worrisome feeling. So we can make this link here between the feeling we're getting, which is caused by the thinking about the future in a certain way. It's not the only way possible, but it's a certain way, and it brings up these feelings. So put simply, our thinking causes the feeling of worry. Now, when you see it like that, there starts to be a glimpse of another choice. If it's actually caused, if the worrisome feelings are caused by our thinking and not the actual circumstances, in other words, it's not the interview, it's not inevitable that because I've got an interview coming up, I've got to feel worry. It's not inevitable because I care for my child that I've got to worry about them. There's nothing inevitable there. It's fundamentally open to choice, some kind of option. So let's go back to the quasi reasons that we had for worrying. So take the first one. We think it prepares us well for some upcoming event. Well, you know, if you look at your experience, if you look back at things you've done, is that really true? Or are you actually more prepared when you are relatively relaxed mentally, where you have a clear head and where you're open to insights and inspiration in the moment? So take the interview example again. You could find that you've been in an interview situation or similar where you have had a clear head and ideas and inspirations and good answers, good dialogue come naturally to you. It's not something that is the product of 3 days of worrying. It's that you are able to respond in the moment to what's going on. You're present, you're alert, your senses are at a relatively high pitch because you're not interfering with them with lots of worry, and you do perform much better. It's the same when you're caring for somebody. Is it really true that worrying prepares you best? Whereas in fact, if you're actually able to be clear-headed and present with another person, that actually is when you'll find you can care for them the best of all. And the third reason, you know, coming up with an answer to a problem, coming up to a solution to an issue you have in the future, again, being open-minded to new ideas and to a degree of insight is actually much more helpful in coming up with those ideas. And again, you've probably seen this yourself, where, you know, out the blue, you get the best ideas. It's not because you've been worrying about them or thinking a lot about them. It's that you've had some mental space open up where new ideas naturally come to you. And look, this is an ability we all have. It's not something you've got to work at. You know, we're born with this ability to have insights and to act on them in the moment, as long as we're not cluttering our minds with lots of overthinking, which is worrying is an example, and then we're able to perform at our best. So going back to the question at the beginning, you know, would you rather worry for the next 3 hours or go about your day with peace of mind? The reason it's obvious, the answer that you come up with is clearly going to be preference for peace of mind, is because already you know you perform better with peace of mind than with that sort of heavy burden of worry. So I hope you find that useful and it provokes some reflection. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and you can post those in the normal place, and I will look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for watching.